This is Shannon Holton, Real Salty Dietitian and owner of Sound Growth Nutrition and Wellness. So yesterday was a bit of a rough day. We all have them. And what I try to do is think about the principles that have driven me to this point so far and frame it in a way that I can make something helpful for others and helpful for myself as well. One of the things that I did when I left my previous position and started on my new adventure was to create a greater sense of happiness in my life, peace, be a better mom, partner, family member in general with my attitude and my demeanor. A month ago, I read a really great book. I'll give it a shout out. It's called Tiny Habits. It's not brand new, but it gave me a lot of food for thought when I was thinking about my profession and working with clients. But it also gave me a lot of thought about myself and my attitudes and how I can make small changes and habits. And one of the things that I intentionally have worked on is positivity. And so despite having kind of a really cruddy day yesterday, I still reverted back and kept that habit that I had developed after reading that book. That particular habit was positivity, a message of overall positivity, and kind of how I instill that in my home life is incorporating into my evening routine when it's time to go to bed and it's time to tell the kids to turn off electronics and go to sleep, is to make sure that at that time I tell them that I love them, I give them praise for the day, and the hugs and the good stuff. They've looked at me a little weird a few times. I will acknowledge that. They're all teenagers, so they kind of are like, "Mom, where's this coming from?" And it's like, no, this should have always been here, and this is a habit I'm incorporating. So despite my bad day, I still was able to go in at bedtime and do my routine of giving them a praise for the day, love, and hugs. How this works and the way that the book phrases it, I really liked. And I mentioned before about how motivation can be sort of transient, and you don't wake up every day with motivation unless you have a really strong driver for that motivation. We tend to pick things and habits that are easy to do and that have a prompt, that something happens or a routine occurs that creates the habit. So when you're creating habits from a nutrition perspective, and when I'm talking to clients, it's things that we're looking for are things that are easy to do first and things that are attached to another activity, that you can attach to another activity. For example, I have never really been good about making lunch for myself, but every day I was making lunch for my children. My husband mentioned it as well because he never has made lunch either. But when I'm preparing lunch, or if your child is preparing a lunch, if you don't do it for them, you can incorporate just that one little extra step. You've already got the stuff out, and go ahead and prepare yourself a lunch. And so those are things that I've incorporated, and I have now set out the assembly line, and I just prepare lunches for everybody instead of just the 3 kids. It just makes things a lot easier, and it's able to be incorporated because it's not super hard when you've already got all the stuff out and you're already in that routine and that habit of preparing that lunch. Another example, I often always use my kids, for example. In the mornings, I fill their water bottles up with ice water for the day to go in their book bags. So at the same time, I can just make my own water bottle. Even though I'm home and I work from home a lot, I'm already doing it. So it's just an act of pouring another container or water bottle of water. And I talk to people, I ask them, what are your nutrition goals or the things that you would like to do? Make a big list, an exhaustive list, a pie in the sky list, and then you can start to pick out the things that, number one, would be easy to do, in the sense that it doesn't take a lot of effort to do that activity. A lot of times adding water or drinking more water is one that starts at the top because it's a pretty easy thing to do, to pour a glass of water. Then I also make sure that when we identify that task or that easy thing to do, that it's able to be tied to an activity they're already doing in their life, so that you are more likely to continue to do it and it becomes a habit rather than something you think, oh, I have to remember to drink more water. So that is a really short snippet for today. I did want to share that because that does provide me a lot of inspiration and a lot of prompts, I think of that book often. It's a prompt in and of itself now because I've read it, and the little phrases and the key terminologies keep coming back, and wanted to share that with everyone. So if you are looking to make some changes, it doesn't mean it has to be just nutrition. Obviously, I've applied it to my personal professional life and my home life with my family. It could be related to if you're a supervisor or leader in your job and trying to help encourage and create habits for your employees. It can be used in any context. I've always said I'm a lived experience person, so I always try to tie the concepts to an actual experience to help with my retention and learning. I hope that that was helpful, and we're looking for research topics for Friday to expand upon your knowledge of the nutrition world. Have a great day.